Hey everybody, and Happy New Year. I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to the Dice Tower's first video of 2020. I'm glad you're here. I'm alone in the studio, so if there's any technical problems, I'll have to fix them in the middle of this. The guys have off today. But yeah, it's 2020. It was a good year. We had a good time in 2019. I look forward to 2020. Dice Tower has our annual Kickstarters coming up on Monday the 6th, starting at noon Eastern Standard Time. We are pretty much done with it, although we still have a lot of tweaks and things to put together in it. But I'm really excited about it. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about the Dice Tower and things that we're going to be doing differently in 2020 and taking your questions. I'll talk about other things if we have questions about other stuff. I don't know, maybe the questions about the Dice Tower won't necessarily take a whole hour, or maybe I'll end us before the hour's up, either way. But the future, I don't tend to, as a whole, make a 5-10 year plan for anything, honestly. I make a 1-year plan. I'm like, all right, what are we going to do next year? And I keep that 1-year plan kind of rolling as, you know, like when Gen Con's over, I plan for Gen Con of the next year, because that's just how that works. But I don't plan too much farther than that, because you got to pivot a lot and you got to change things. So right now I'm looking at 2020 to see how things are going to be changing or differentiated. So one of the things that we need to do, I'll talk about smaller stuff, maybe a move to the bigger stuff. One of the things that we need to do is we need to upgrade equipment. I've been pretty happy with how the equipment's come along. Our live streaming works well enough now that I think it looks pretty good. We have nice backdrops and things like that. But our live streaming software and hardware piece is gonna probably fade on us at some point. We've already had one problem with it this past year, and we're gonna have to move to something that's a little bit more we have an all-in-one device, and we probably need to move away from that. We got the device originally so that we could travel with the streaming, but we found that to be such a pain in the neck that we're just, we're keeping streaming here in the studio. And I think our streaming went well last year. We had a lot of good times with the streaming. We did more streaming last year than we've done in all the years together prior. And I think that went well, and I want to make that better. We want to get better cameras. We have good cameras, but we want better ones. We need new computers, honestly, that will work well with everything. So one of the things we need to do next year is equipment. That's not something that you will notice a lot, but equipment is expensive, and it is something that needs to be done. And we're going to be working on, you'll notice at the very end of last year, the other studio, the one I'm not in right now, was changed. Z completely redid that studio, and you'll see more of that stuff as time goes by. I'll probably at some point need to change the backdrop and layout of this particular studio too. So that's one thing. Another thing, and we've already done this. We want to see if anyone would notice, but the other thing is we are moving our unboxings to a separate channel, Dice Tower Unboxings. This was a decision. I had toyed with it. I had asked people about doing this probably a year ago, and we got a kind of a 50-50 split on. Some people wanted to leave the Dice Tower Unboxings on this channel, and some people said it cluttered up the feed. At the end of the day, though, for us, we think the channel here will grow a little bit more if there's not quite as many videos on it. And the unboxing videos, which, by the way, is now in the purview of Mike Delisio, who is doing a fantastic job with those. We're going to move it to another channel. They'll still get put onto the website, the Dice Tower website, and we're working on adding them to Board Game Geek and other places. And we know that at the beginning they won't get many views or anything, but they will. That channel, we hope, will grow, and then if you just like unboxings, then you're in luck. So the unboxings moving to another spot, I think, will help people. So unboxings. Another thing we're going to be doing this year as a change is going to be I want to start up a newsletter. One of the problems we have here at the Dice Tower, I notice every January when it's time to announce our Kickstarter, or when we're going to announce Dice Tower Retreat, or whatever it is. it's like, okay, I got mentioned on a podcast. We got to put on Twitter. We got to put on Facebook. We got to do this and that and this. And we'll still do all that, right? But it always amazes me every year on the Dice Tower Kickstarter. Like, 2 months later, someone will say, oh, I missed the Kickstarter. And I'm thinking, how? We put it everywhere. And that's just how life is. But I like to have a newsletter that's a focus point to that, a focal point. Now, I will not ever give people email addresses away. We actually had a convention director came to us and said, let's switch our convention lists with one another. And I said, no. He's like, everyone does it. Well, maybe, but we won't do that. But I want to make like a little newsletter that goes out. And this is not something that's going to start tomorrow. It's probably going to start halfway through 2020. We got to put it together, find a newsletter client. But something that says, here's what's going on with the Dice Tower. Here's some hot videos you might have missed. Here's some podcasts that are interesting to listen to. Here's news about our upcoming retreat and Dice Tower Cons East and Dice Tower West and things like that. And a little extra content that you would not find anywhere else. Maybe put in something in there. And so this is that. Someone says I'm blurry on the video. I'm not blurry from my end, so I apologize if I'm blurry on your video. Maybe other people in chat can confirm. I'm seeing one person says I'm blurry, but I apologize. I don't think I am. Someone asked, am I considering moving other videos onto separate channels? I'm not. All the other videos will stay on the main channel. The unboxing videos were a lot, though. There was, we were putting out 12 a week of the unboxing videos, I think, 10 or 12 a week. And I wanted that to not, it's funny because we didn't lower the rest of our content, and yet people said, I think you're doing fewer reviews. Well, we're not. We did almost 900 reviews last year. But the unboxings made it look like we did less. So that perception thing, and also just for subscriptions, a lot of people don't subscribe to our channel because there's so many videos. Now, I know that even when we move the unboxings, there's still a lot of other videos on the channel, but there's nothing else that would make sense to move onto its own channel. So the newsletter is going to be something that we're going to start off an email newsletter, and we'll announce how we're doing that and things, and just a way that for us to communicate with everybody. I'll still try to post things on Facebook and our Guild on Board Game Geek and different places, but we want there to be a single source that when you get it, and I don't also want this to be a newsletter that you get all the time, and so you're like, oh, I got to delete this thing again. It comes all the time. Oh, I went shopping at Williams-Sonoma the other day. Like a few weeks ago, I was buying some stuff for Christmas, and they send me 2 emails a day. That's crazy. I'm blocking them because it's ridiculous. This will not be like that. At most, it would be 2 a month. Because, well, for one thing, we have a lot of other things we're doing. I don't want to put a ton of time into doing this and get so caught up in making a newsletter. But I do think it would be good to have a focused thing. The new channel is called Dice Tower Unboxings. We'll be posting that publicly. We've soft launched it this week. I'm not even sure how you would find it at this point in time, other than we're going to have a link in our own channel, so you'll be able to see it like below. We're adding it. I'm just announcing that we're doing it. That's all. Okay, so newsletter and that. Also, we're going to be working on focusing with our live streaming this year. We did a lot of new live streaming shows last year. Some of them were very well received, some of them not quite so much. So you're going to see some focus and some changes there. Some of your videos that you like are going to go away just by very nature of what they are. 2 that are kind of fading out for now, we'll probably replace them. One is Back Talk, which is, I'll talk about a little bit more in a bit about why Back Talk's going out, but that one's going to go out. But that one's kind of been replaced anyway. For example, you saw us go through the decade. So basically, I'm taking 2 videos and I'm squishing them together. Back Talk and Dice Tower Dive. Both of those, Dice Tower Dive, which I really like doing, but it was a lot of work. We went into it and picked stuff. And Back Talk, which we just took a topic and talked about it. Those are being congested into just a series of videos. An example of that would be the Decade in Review that Z and I just did. We're going to be doing more of that, but we'll be picking topics and going through those topics and talking about various things in those topics, me and Z working on that. So that's going to be kind of an amalgamation of Back Talk and the Deep Dice Tower Dive. Crowd surfing, which got much bigger than I thought it would be. It was very popular. That's going to be sticking around. Testing Tuesdays are still going to be around, but not quite as frequently, just because we have other things that we need to do sometimes in those days, although you will see a lot more live, not a lot more, but you'll see live playthroughs throughout the year too. The live breakfasts are still here for now, the live board game breakfasts, and although they're going to change. You saw the last one we did was a little bit different, and this one that's happening tomorrow morning will be slightly different too, but that's also because of the holidays are changing how things work. I prefer like unboxing being the same channel, one-stop shop, but it's not the end of the world. I completely understand that, and it's always possible that after a year I go look at this and say, you know what, it's not working, we'll move them back to the main channel. But I think in the long run this will help declutter the channel. Rainer says, what support aspect or achievement of Dice Tower in 2019 are you most proud of? What are you looking forward to the most in Dice Tower in 2020? I'll get to the second half later. What am I most proud of in 2019? I think I'm just proud of my team. They do such a good job on everything, and I thought we ran a really cool retreat. It went really well, the Dice Tower retreat. I'm really happy with just Roy and Mike, and I mean at the beginning of the year Derek, and then Roy, Chris, and Mike. As the year went by, the efforts they put into live streaming, it just makes I can't imagine how I did all this by myself. I'm doing it all by myself today, right? But that's only because things were set up and stuff's ready and I was told what buttons to press here and there. I mean, I know a lot of the technical stuff behind the scenes, but so much of this is able to get done now because of this support team I have. So I would easily say that's the thing that I'm most proud of. Okay, so will I still do Miami Dice style reviews with Z? So we decided that we're going to retire Miami Dice, and let's just jump right into the elephant in the room, which is Sam left at the end of 2019, right? So how is that going to affect the Dice Tower? Yeah, it's going to affect the Dice Tower in a big way, right? Now, on review purposes, it's going to affect us not as much. Sam did a lot of reviews, but not a ton of them, so we'll be able to cover for those reviews. But what about the top 10s? What about Miami Dice, etc.? So we'll start with Miami Dice. That's the easiest one. Miami Dice is just done. It was a show that I did with me and Sam, and if Sam ever shows up at some point, and one of our stretch goals is to bring Sam in and do some things with us, so stay tuned for that. And, you know, we're still on very good terms with Sam. I just gave him a call last week to see how he was doing, settling in up there. But, you know, Miami Dice was me and Sam. Now, will me and Z do reviews together? Sure. But we're just going to call it a normal review. It'll be like something review with Tom Vasel and Z Garcia. So you'll still see us do joint reviews together. It will just be that way. And you will occasionally see a joint review with me and Roy Cannaday, and possibly with me and Mike DeLisio. It's just possible that you'll see that, or some combo of the thing. See, we're in a very unique position now. Last year, one of our stretch goals was to bring on another video editor. And we brought Chris, and Chris was fantastic. And just because of various events out of everyone's control, Chris had to move on this year, which was really sad because we really liked Chris and he did a fantastic job. And Chris still helps us a little bit behind the scenes. But when that happened, Mike DeLisio, who we had been working with and had been doing a solo gaming segment on our shows and things, he applied to come down with us, and we was like, well, this is great. Not only can he replace Chris, but he can also do some stuff. So you'll notice, like I said, he's doing the unboxing videos, but Mike's voice will also be able to work with us and with Roy, who, when Roy came down, you know, Roy's able to do a few reviews here and there, and also Roy started up like 6 other shows, you know, Roy has the Favorite Game Friday and his new interview show that he does with different people. Roy's just I had to make Roy stay home today from work because he's just that dedicated and does a great job. So with this, we now have all these people who are editing, and we have some voices and such. And so that's going to help out a lot amongst the reviews. The top 10s. That's the big thing, right? The top 10s, and everyone's been asking about that. On Monday, we're starting our top 100 of all time. So let me tell you how the top 100 of all time is going to work. Top 100 of all time is going to be me and Z are going to do our top 100. And then Mike and Roy are going to switch back and forth doing the People's Choice. They'll be the stand-in for the People's Choice, so there'll be 3 of us. And we're going to do that all the way up to 40. Once we get to number 40 of the top 100 of all time, Roy and Mike are going to come in, and they're going to give their top 40. So there will be 5 top 10 lists, mine, Z, Roy, and Mike, and then the People's Choice. So we've been working on this, the People's Choice. Mine are done. Z is working on his top 100 now. Mike and Roy are working on their top 40. So 100 through 41 will be just me, Z, and the People's Choice, with Mike and Roy switching out, and then 40 to 1. And these are all live, and they're all going up in the next 3 weeks. We got the first one scheduled for Monday. It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Monday, Tuesday. Right, yeah, that's how that's working. And so I'm excited about that. Now, that is not how the year is going to go completely. Top 10s are a big deal on our show. So here's what we're going to be doing. We're not looking right now for a replacement for Sam. We're not, there's no way anyone could come in and they would be compared to Sam all the time. It just wouldn't be fair to that person, whoever it is, and also we just haven't found that perfect person. So what we're going to do this year is we're going to fly in guests. As much as I can, as long as the Kickstarter goes well, I'm going to fly in guests over the year. I've already talked to many different people in the board game industry who would love to do this. Now, sure, we can pull from our own pool people that are close. We have Mike and Roy in the studio. We can bring Jason in every once in a while. We have Stephen Bonacor, who's not too far away. We can bring these people in, but we want to bring people in from all over the place. Paula Deming told me she would come in. Mark Streed might show up. Various people throughout the industry. The brothers Murph said they'd come through. So we're going to have these different people come in, and we'll do a live top 10 with them, and then we'll record another top 10 with them same day, and then just post that one the following week. So anytime we bring someone in, we'll get 2 top 10s out of them. We'll also have them as a guest on our board game breakfast that morning. And if we have a chance, and this is not a guarantee, we'll do a live playthrough of a game with those people too. And so it'll be up to you. You can suggest to us, these are people we'd like to see in. We're not talking about, we'll definitely want to pull from people who are contributors to the Dice Tower and part of our board game breakfast show and various things. But we also would like to just grab people from other networks and other shows and things. And I just think that would be a lot of fun. And you'll get to hear a lot of different voices in the industry. And hopefully the banter will be different for sure, but it will be there. And I think I'm pretty excited about this, and that's one of our big pushes for this coming year. Okay, let me see. I'll jump to some questions here briefly here. So let's see here. We introduce more camera angles during playthroughs, like GoPro. Maybe. We got to be careful. One of the things about adding too many camera angles is we get so caught up in the angles that we're not caught up in the gameplay itself. We have the above camera angle, which is great, and I've considered putting a second above camera angle. GoPros and stuff, after a while, there's cameras and wires all over the place, and unless you have a professional team coming in, doing something like that live is a much trickier thing. Now, our 2021 goal might be to get a bigger studio or something where we can pull off more camera angles, but for now, I'm pretty happy with the number of camera angles that we have. Let's see here. A lot of people are asking, Wish you would do it with Z. Well, listen, I'm going to be reviewing with Z. We're just not calling it Miami Dice, that's all. The Miami Dice name is the only thing that's disappearing, not the actual Miami Dice reviews. I'll still review with Z. We'll still go back and forth. It's just that Miami Dice was a name for the show I did with Sam. That's all. Do you plan on collaborating with other YouTubers, even non-board game channels? Maybe, but it would need to be someone who knew about board games for sure. And maybe give me an example of who you're talking about. I don't know what you mean by that. We need more women, for sure, and that's one of the things we'll be looking for as we bring people in, just more diversity in general. That makes sense, right? And so we'll try to get different folks in. The Kickstarter, will all the rewards pledges be available to your Canadian fans backers? For sure. Oh, and see you soon on the cruise, yes. The shut up and sit down guys, well, yes, they would be expensive. So, I mean, we'll see what we can do when we bring people in, but to bring people in from overseas would be pretty pricey. So keep that in mind. Even bringing people in from Canada can be pricey. We'll do our best, to bring people in, and also, we got to work with time and then scheduling. But we're going to start, as soon as our Kickstarter starts, we're going to be working on scheduling guests for February, so we can get some of these people in and everything. Game Theory, I'm not sure what that channel is. Oh, the Miami Dice theme song is so good. Yeah, that is true. That is a great theme song, isn't it? Can we still expect Snack Talk? We'll see. Snack Talk may have been a 2019 thing. The amount of negativity we get on Snack Talk is quite high. What is the game you let leave your collection that you regret missed the most? There's quite a few actually that I let Sam have because one of my shticks I always say is, hey, you want a big game collection? Store it at other people's houses, right? Let other people have it. So Sam has quite a few games that I would not have minded. I need to get back for the Dice Tower library, but it's not that big of a deal. Battlestar Galactica is the biggest one right now because that one's pretty expensive. Will Wheaton guest the appearance? Maybe, but I don't think Will Wheaton plays games much these days, so. Who's going to be on the cruise from the Dice Tower? It will be myself, Z, Roy, Mike, Kenny, Jason, Crystal. We also have the brothers Murph coming in, Paula Deming's coming in, possibly another special guest. Rob Searing. There are several others coming in whose names are Mark Street will be there. There's a few others who I might be forgetting that are coming in for it. Any chance you'll chop up the 24-hour marathon videos into game-by-game videos? Yes, that's on our agenda to do, so don't worry about that. And in fact, we have a 24-hour marathon on the Kickstarter, one of the stretch goals. In fact, I put 2 of them on the stretch goals because it was so much fun, it was so cool to do, and I think it went better this year than it's ever gone before. Becca Scott is certainly someone that we would talk to. I'm not saying she'll come in, but she'll be someone that I'll ask to come in for sure. Some channels make a bigger deal out of super chats during live streams. Do you foresee this being something the Dice Tower will prioritize in the future? Or YouTube memberships? Yeah, I'm kind of hesitant to ask for money during the course of the year. We make a big deal about our Kickstarter, and one of the reasons I like doing that is because I don't want to ask for money the rest of the year. In January, yes, we ask folks, if you like the Dice Tower, to please consider supporting it. But I don't want to do that all the time, which is why I don't push those. Are we glad for Super Chat and YouTube memberships? Sure. But I don't know that I want to put a big push towards those at this point in time. Are you going to do a top 10 of most anticipated 2020 games? Yes, although you might not see that until February, if only because the top 100 is going to get in the way first. But when you see it in 2020, you will then will also know a little bit more information, and it still will work as an anticipated list. Sorry I missed this in the first few minutes. Any plans to update your review format? You mean like my personal review format? Not particularly. Having talks about components is fun. Possible topics may include MSRP and quality of the rulebook. Well, the quality of the rulebook, if it's good or bad, if it's really good or really bad, I mention that in the components. I'll never do MSRP. I might casually mention it when I do it, but the fact is that MSRP doesn't mean anything. I don't know what the game is priced at sometimes. I don't know if you'll be able to buy it online for $20 cheaper. I don't know if $60 game for you is cheap or expensive. There's just so many factors in. I don't know if you're watching it in 2020 or in 2025. All that just makes price almost a useless point. Components, they're going to be the same no matter what year you buy them in. Price just doesn't work. At least for me, it doesn't. What negativity you get in Snack Talk? Oh, man, it's one of our most hated segments from a lot of people. We chew into the microphone. No one wants to watch people eat food online. Whew. Yeah, really, really strong negative feedback on Snack Talk. Some people really like it, I know, but yeah, it's easily our most disliked segment we do currently. Any upgraded plans for Essen this year? I'm still working on that. Do you know your plans for UK Games Expo yet? I do not. We're still working on that. Sad to hear about Testing Tuesday will be happening less frequently. I know you don't like streaming certain games, but will it less frequent? Will you stream broader selection of games? Possibly. You'll just have to wait and see how that works out. There's a few games that we want to mess with that we don't necessarily want to do on camera. And also we're still going to try to do live stuff as much as we can. It might be in different ways in that regard. When playing Tainted Grail solo, how many characters do you use? 2. What are the reward levels for Kickstarter this year? Well, they're very similar to previous years. I'm going to let you guys find them out. Like if you thought the reward levels were good last year, then you'll think the same this year. There's a few differences, a few new non-promo items. Like we got lots of promos from various games. I want to say there's like 55 to 60 different promos, different types of promos. I mean, some of them are sets of 5 cards and stuff. I mean, if we count the number of cards, it would be like 200 promos probably. But that's ridiculous. Like 50 different promos, and split up in different packs like they were in the past. A, B, C, D, and E. Although we call them names this year: Adventurer, Builder, whatever. When we tried to theme them slightly. And then there will be a lot of non-promo stuff, a few new things, a few things I'm actually pretty excited about. And then, meals with us. And then, of course, if you just want to support the Dice Tower in general. So all that stuff will be posted on the Kickstarter. And I don't want to spoil that. If you look at our banners, we're doing a countdown, 10 through 1. You'll see that we have new superhero dice guys. And we have we're showing off some of the promos that are coming each day in our Facebook group. Don't burn yourself out? Well, my goal is to not burn myself out. So there's that. Do you ever get tired of running all this stuff? Well, sometimes. I mean, there's a lot of things to run. Now, I know people don't. This is one of the things a lot of people don't see behind the scenes. Like, so every Monday, I get a call from Lindsay, who works with marketing, and we talk about all the different things that are going on. And we talk about, then I get a call from Dice Tower East director, and we talk about that sort of stuff. That there's all that, and every day I go through my emails and go through and figure out this is happening here. I have to build a schedule. The videos don't just randomly show up each day. There's a very clear-cut schedule as to when different videos go up at different times. And so all this stuff is a lot of my day-to-day job. And anytime I pause and breathe, I'll be like, oh, the Kickstarter, I think we're almost ready. And then someone will say, are you ready for the cruise? Oh, right, I need to do this stuff for the cruise. And then someone else will say, oh, yeah, by the way, we need to get those dates for the retreat. So there's just always stuff. I'm not feeling burned out, though. I do take time off. I kind of took yesterday off. I took some of yesterday off, but I spent the morning figuring out why my Mac computer kept crashing. And also then I ran a New Year's Eve party, which was a lot of fun, but very exhausting. As soon as I got home, I went right to bed. Will you get Sam Healy as a guest in the future year? Sure. And in fact, when I said we're bringing people to do top 10s with us, we want Sam to be one of them, right? And so that's on our list. How do you manage finance throughout the year to avoid running out of Kickstarter money? That has to be very careful, right? Most people don't get paid annually. We do, of sorts. I pay my employees monthly, but the Dice Tower money comes in on a mostly annual basis since the majority of it's from our Kickstarter. You have to be, I was about to say good money, that's probably too strong. You have to control your spending, right? It needs to last the whole year round. So you have to budget it out and make sure there's still money come January and February, because that's when our Kickstarter runs through. And so there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes in that regard. And so, yeah, how do you do it? You got to be ever mindful of it. Which games are you currently playing solo? Just Tainted Grail, although I haven't played it for a few weeks now. I need to get back. I just actually sorted out Tainted Grail because I needed to stick a copy of it in the library. But I played a few other ones recently. There was a game that looked pretty awful. And it was a solo game. And so there was some buzz like, there's no way Tom would like that game. And I was like, all right, I'm going to take this home and we're going to play it. So I took it home, opened it up, and I had such a horrifyingly negative reaction to the rule book, which was horrific, the pieces, which were horrific. And even though it was a solo game, I don't know that I'll be able to get through it. I was just very disappointed. I mean, I'm trying to do that to some degree, but we'll see. But you're right, I'm not a solo gamer. Would you consider getting game designers in top 10s with the rule that they can't pick their own games? Actually, if you'll notice with game designers, very few of them would ever pick their top games anyway. Do you remember all the rules of all games? I do not. How large is your staff, and are you looking to hire more? Okay, well, like I said, last year our goal was to get our stretch goal was to get a video manager. So we have, here at the studio, we have Z Garcia, and he's host and reviewer. We have Roy Cannaday, who is main video editor and runs lots of different shows. Mike DeLisio, video editor, part 2, also is running other different shows. We have Kenny Sardina, who is our office manager and runs everything. We would not survive without him. He knows everything about everything. Right now, his main goal, his main focus is figuring out how to get our board game library to the cruise ship, and then from the cruise ship to Dice Tower West, and then back again. So we're making special pallets for this. We have to buy special pallets. This year we put a lot of money into this board game collection, with shelving and protection, and there's just a lot of stuff that goes on into it. But now we have special pallets that these things will sit on. Then Lindsay is our marketing manager, and then Sharon Madden is a director of Dice Tower East, and Jason Levine is the director of Dice Tower Cruise. Dice Tower West is run by Tim, but he is not technically an employee of the Dice Tower. We have a different agreement in place with him running that, but that is our staff that we have. We also have Outliers, Eric Summer, who co-hosts the podcast with me, does a lot of voice work for us, some part-time employee, and Rob Searing does our website, and Mark Street does our Kickstarter previews. So then we have different contributors and different people doing videos and stuff. So there's a lot of money. The money that comes from our Kickstarter is barely enough to cover all of this. You know, there is some money that comes in from YouTube. There's some money that comes in from advertising and such, but the vast majority of our money comes from our Kickstarter. And the vast outlier of that is to pay the different people involved in the show. Can you do some more behind the scenes video? We might do that at some point. What games did you get your family this year for Christmas? None. No games, come on now. My kids get to play more games than anyone else on earth if they want to. I'm not going to buy them games. I did buy my one daughter a little like operation type thing. I guess that's considered a game because she really likes that sort of thing. Thank you for opening up Favorite Game Friday. Well, that's all Roy. Why do you do packs of promos instead of individual promos that people can buy? Well, there's three main reasons for that. One is that logistically it would be a sheer nightmare when it comes time to ship all those, and someone would say, I'm getting this, and you're like picking those. It would take months to get all that stuff shipped out. It already takes a while as it is. Having them in packs ready to go makes it better. Two, we would have problems with, again, logistics, keeping track of which promos, and this promo went faster than this one, etc. And three, we're not a store. I'll say it many, many times over and over and over and over again. We're not a store. These are gifts from us to you for you supporting the Dice Tower. If you're here just to buy a card, I'm not as interested in that. I'm not here to sell you a card. I'm here, what we're doing with the Kickstarter is asking you to support the show. And you say, yeah, but you put this promo in A, and this one in B, and this one in D, and those are the only three I want. I get it, but at the end of the day, we also try to have promos that aren't that necessary, that you don't need that badly. And you can always wait at conventions. We usually have the extra promos that are left over there are at our different conventions, and some of the popular promos will be in the backer kit when you're done from last year. So for example, the Nemesis promos from last year's Kickstarter, they're not going to be in this year's Kickstarter, but you'll be able to add them to this year's Kickstarter if you want to get those for Nemesis. And I know it seems, you know, all the time people say stuff, you know, like, oh man, I really wish that you could have these promos for sale individually. And I know that from a single person's perspective, that seems like it would work really well. But from our end, it would really be a logistical nightmare. As it is, it's a very logistical difficulty to keep track of all this stuff. The live stream studio all-in-one units are underpowered and problematic. I just got a live stream software license and installed it on a custom computer for my own project. It works wonderfully. I would not mind if you emailed roy@dicetower.com and told him about that, because that is something we'd like to look to in the future to do ourselves. Do you think the Netflix Marvel characters should be rolled into the MCU? Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist. Maybe they would be super depressed. I don't know. They're all like so somber and don't have like a much humor, and I think they would not fit into the Marvel Cinematic Universe so well. Should Hugh Jackman Return as Wolverine or get a new actor? Whew, that'd be a tough person. He is Wolverine, right? Be a tough person to follow up on. I don't know how they'll do that. What games worked best at your New Year's Eve party? Well, I took a whole pile of party games and ended up, I run a game show like I do at our different conventions at our New Year's Eve party. And then at the end of the night, I taught some people Wavelength, which everyone enjoyed. And then I taught some people Just One, which I finally had to take away from them at the end of the night because they just would not stop playing it. And everyone really liked Just One. Oh yes, Brian and Carla Drake will be on the cruise. Sorry, Brian. I did not mean to skip you by. I don't have a list of the people on the cruise here in front of me. Could you put into Board Game Breakfast which Kickstarter game you would recommend this week, month? The crowd surfing is great. I don't know. I got to be really cautious. I have my pick of the week in crowd surfing. Anything farther beyond that is tantamount to me giving official support to a project that I may not have played and I'm just guessing on. Are there plans to try to be self-sufficient without a Kickstarter? I'd love to, but I haven't figured it out yet. If you can figure it out, I'd appreciate it. It's hard. Conventions do not bring in as much money as people think they do. So for the last, Dice Tower West is going to make us a bit of a profit. Dice Tower Cruise makes us a bit of profit. Dice Tower Con, I've not gotten money from that in the past years. It just, nothing has come into us from Dice Tower Con. This year, Dice Tower East, but because we're starting it up ourselves and everything, the startup costs for Con are so high and so involved, we probably won't make much from Dice Tower East. And Dice Tower Retreat is so small, it doesn't make much money. So that's some income, but not very much. YouTube is some income, but not very much. We do some advertising on our channel for various things, and that's some income, but not very much. It's mostly the Kickstarter. I'd love to switch that over at some point, but at the same time, it also gives you guys a part in this. When we look back at the Dice Tower and someone says, why were you successful? Because of you. Not because of me, not because of what I've done, but because of what you have done. Are you planning to try out different streaming platforms other than YouTube? Well, I'm assuming you must mean Twitch, because what else is there? We tried Twitch in 2018, and it went over kind of like a lead balloon. Now, I'm not saying Twitch is bad. Twitch is fine, but I think you're doing Twitch or YouTube. And in fact, Twitch called me, and we talked, and they wanted us to come on board more fully, but they wanted it to be fairly exclusive. And I was like, well, YouTube seems to be growing, and our YouTube streaming has done really well. Our top 10s, we're regularly getting 1,000 people watching simultaneously. Our crowd surfings will reach 500. Even this Q&A I'm doing right now has 360 people watching as I do this. That we just weren't getting those numbers on Twitch. I'm sure we could if we were on there long enough, but the YouTube platform works for us. Are you affected by COPPA? Well, it started today, right? They haven't pulled this video down yet. Who knows? I don't know how it's going to work. We are a channel that is family friendly. If your kid's in a room, you don't have to cover their ears or eyes while they watch this channel. That being said, I can say this channel's not for kids. We do this for adults. Even when I review kid games, it's for adults. I'm talking to adults. The show is for adults. So that's what we're declaring our show as. You know, if the FCC or whatever organization's in charge of this, if they decide otherwise, but what can I do about it? I'm telling people what it is and what it is. I feel like it's pretty obvious, but who knows? Tom, would you be more organized if you hired a personal assistant to help with organizing convention dates and other miscellaneous stuff? Well, that is a lot of what Kenny does. We have big calendars here in the office. In fact, earlier, Kenny, and Lindsay, a few weeks ago, right before Christmas, I have a whole printed out calendar for the year 2020. These are all the conventions we're going to, for sure. Then we'll see if we add or subtract from that. Here's when different things happen. We definitely have an organized, you can't see it, but there's an internal Google document that everybody has. That's part of the Dice Tower, where they can see what's going up when. So I can pull that up right now on my computer, and I can say, this review is going up tomorrow, this review is going up tomorrow, this one's going up here, this one's going up here. Works really well. Is there something you don't like about Kickstarter as a crowdsurfing platform compared to others? Sure. I think Kickstarter makes so much money that they don't have any kind of impetus to make their website better. Like, we use BackerKit, and BackerKit's phenomenal, right? But why does BackerKit need to exist? Why can't Kickstarter just have that built into their platform? That's insane that they don't. Do I have to use KickTrack to find things on Kickstarter instead of using Kickstarter's internal search engines? They're terrible. The editing pages for the Kickstarter are not that good. When we edit a page, like if you insert a picture, for example, when you're done inserting the picture, it shoots you all the way back up to the top. It's crazy insane. And the editor's not even WYSIWYG, which there's just so many problems with it. My biggest problem with Kickstarter is probably the fact that they continue this whole we're not a store thing, even though they clearly are. But because of that, if you back somebody, you can pull your backing, which is just, to me, it's not a good thing. That's the one thing I like about Indiegogo is when you back a project, you paid for it instantly. You could still get your money back, but you had to go and say, I would like my money back. While in Kickstarter, there's 10 pledges for this. And I'm like, I want one of those, maybe. I don't know if I want it or not, but I'm going to go in there. Person B comes in and goes, oh, I wanted that pledge, but they're all gone. All right, I guess I'll go somewhere else. Campaign's almost over. Person A is like, you know what? I don't want that. I'm out. No cost, nothing. They lost no money. But they kept the project manager from getting person B to come in and get that instead. I think it's too easy to switch your stuff and move around in Kickstarter, which makes people back things for $1. They're like, I'll back it later. What does it matter? Or I'll back it for this huge amount of money. Nah, I changed my mind. I'll back it for a little bit of money. And that happens all the time. As a project manager, it's very frustrating. I stopped looking at the amount that went up and down because it drives you insane. This person backed for $300. That's fantastic. Oh, now it's 10. Oh, okay. You know, and it's very depressing. And you talk to people who run Kickstarters, they'll tell you the same thing. Patreon. Well, Patreon is something, the reason I run Patreon is because, again, I don't want to ask for money all year round. We've toyed with the idea of offering a Patreon in addition to Kickstarter, but we then also talked about if we did that, a bunch of people come in and accuse us of just wanting money all the time. Did you make any mistakes in previous Kickstarter campaigns that you've learned from? Oh, sure, all the time. There's so many things. Sometimes I just underestimate or overestimate that people will want something. Like, oh, people will want this. Nope. A good example is last year, the posters that we made with the dice animals on them. I was like, wow, these dice animals are great. We'll make these little posters. People love posters. People buy posters all the time. Nope, nope, and nope. They just didn't. And of course, we've made other mistakes and stuff behind the scenes that we've done. Were you this talkative as a kid? Yes. So, I believe my son is following in my footsteps. Now, my son is not like in reading group A. You know, when they put kids in kindergarten, he's in kindergarten, they put them in different reading groups. And they call them different names. But it's very clearly people who can read well, people who can read okay, kids who can barely read. He's in the last group. Now, he's learning to read. It's working. It just always cracks me up. They always call him something. This is the explorers group. Oh, so you mean the slow readers. Okay. Anyway, it's just like at the end of the year when I give out all the awards to kindergartners, and they'll be like, this kid gets the involvement award. That means he never shuts up. You know, anyhow, I digress. So he's in his lower reading group, but he's learning, right? And he has just reached the age where he just wants to read everything. at least the letters. So last night we were playing just one, and the clue was spy. So first we had a discussion whether espionage was technically spy and espionage or the same root words. Anyway, it doesn't matter. One person's clue was I, for I spy. That makes sense. You could argue and say you're not supposed to put rhyming words, but I think in this case that's an exception. It doesn't matter if you think it's a legal clue or not. I thought it was a good clue. So they just wrote I as their clue. And Jimmy came up and just wandered up to the table playing with a bunch of adults. He's like, I. That's a stupid clue. And then just wandered away. And the whole table just laughed. And then I apologized. My son, I called your clue stupid. I'm very sorry. But it was just funny. It was the one word he also came up and someone used Tom as a clue one time for the word boss. Because I guess they thought, well, I am the boss here at work. But anyhow, I wasn't playing with my employees. And then he could read that. He's like, T-O-M? Tom. I said, is that a good clue? He's like, no, it's not. So there you go. Question was, were you just talkative as a kid? Yes, but it kind of runs in the family. What's something about your job you look forward to and something you dread? I look forward to coming into work. I really do. I came in late today. I didn't get here till like 8:30 because I was running late. But I usually pop up, get things done, and I'm excited to come in. I love coming in. I love when we play games. I still love playing games. So Tuesday night is our game night. I love it. I look forward to it. I love playing games with the guys, and I just look forward to that sort of thing. What do I dread? I dread the launch of the Kickstarter. I dread tax season a lot. And there's some paperwork stuff I dread. But other than that, I like it. You and Z recently had a sit down with no pun included. You mean in May when we were at UK Games Expo? Anyway, ever considered a cross with other reviewers? Yes. Rewind this video and you'll see what I'm talking about. Did Sam keep his Dice Tower email? He still has it for now. No reason to get rid of it yet. How much do taxes suck for you? A lot. Do you ever get tired of teaching games? No, I do not. I love teaching games. I love it. To the point where I hate being taught a game. But I like teaching games. There are some people who I think teach games really well. If they paid for enough exclusivity, it'd be worth it. We're talking about Twitch. Sure, but even if they paid a lot, let's say they paid me a ton of money to stream on Twitch. I was like, ooh, we can stream on Twitch now. I still need people to watch it, right? I wouldn't be satisfied with a lot of money, but no one watching our stuff. New Year's resolutions, both gaming and or otherwise. I don't have any resolutions per se, but if you watch my board game breakfast, I made some wishes for this coming year, which are similar. Could the rewards from the Kickstarter be sent with gift checked on the packaging so there'd be no customs fees? I would have to talk to the folks shipping to see if that's possible. Do you have any news regarding Pandemic Season 3? I don't publish Pandemic Season 3, so I have no news on that. If you're asking about, is it coming out this year? As far as I know, yes. Do I have a copy? I do not. Do I know anything about a copy? Next question. Do you occasionally have angry, annoyed reactions from game designers if you gave them a negative review? Sure. It's not too bad, though. It's more annoyed than angry. Occasionally someone gets really angry, but it's usually a small publisher. Do you oversee some other crowdfunding site overtaking Kickstarter? I do not oversee that at all. I don't think that will happen. Given your life, work, organization complexity, would you consider a top 10 organization tips, hacks list? Maybe, but I would be very wary to have that come back and bite me. People saying you definitely should do this. How do you distinguish yourself from other Kickstarter board game channel funding to prevent it from recycling the same promo cards? I don't understand the question. You mean having the same promo cards that other Kickstarters do? I ask publishers that we don't have the same ones, just so that there's a lot less confusion. A good chunk of the Kickstarters that are in our Kickstarter this year, not all of them, but a good chunk of them are exclusive to us, or at least semi-exclusive to us. Whenever I talk to a publisher, this is what I tell them. I said, look, I like the Kickstarters to be semi-exclusive. By that I mean I like them to be exclusive to our campaign for the duration of the campaign, until afterwards, for a while. But if someone hates the Dice Tower and they want these promos, they should be able to get them, you know, through another way or means, maybe. Now that doesn't happen. Some of the promos have been exclusive to Kickstarter, to Dice Tower forever. But other promos have been put out in games, and some promos have even showed up in other people's Kickstarter campaigns. Now, I'm not as keen on that happening, but you know, we try to make it as cool as we possibly can. I have not played Unsettled. It's on Kickstarter still. I thought you homeschooled your kids. Well, I do homeschool my kids, but I mean, the way we homeschool our kids is we use online videos with actual teachers, and they go through grades and actual curriculum, and then if they need help, we can help them with it. And so, like, say my son, he watches these videos and stuff, but then when it comes time for him to read out loud to someone, he reads to one of us. When it comes time to give a test, administer a test, or do it, we do it. We want to keep them as on a school curriculum as possible. I feel pretty strongly about that because it's really easy as a homeschool parent to be like, whatever, right? And then there's homeschool parents that do whatever they want. And I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter that much as long as you learn basic skills. People have very strong opinions on this for sure. But I want to kind of push that onto them. Now, I have the right as a homeschool dad to do what I want in some instances. And so when it's a kid's birthday, there's no school that day. I can do that. But then on other days when there's holidays, they might do a school day, depending. Are we going to have rules videos on the Dice Tower? You might see a few of them as time goes by. I think we'll have some more of those. Stella will be doing some as time goes by. Are you aware that YouTube has been suppressing your channel for years? Oh, well, I guess the man's keeping me down. Says, no matter how many Dice Tower videos I watch, none of them ever show up my recommended videos list. I don't know. They show up in my recommended video list, so I guess there's that. I always find that to be funny. Alrighty, but let's close this out here. First of all, thank you, everybody. As always, 2019 was a great year. As soon as I'm done with this video, I'm going to keep recording some reviews. I already recorded one this morning. I got several more. I'm kind of recording reviews and working on Kickstarter stuff. And then tomorrow morning, we'll be back live with the Board Game Breakfast video. And then tomorrow afternoon, I'll be doing another top 10 from 2019. And then I have one more top 10 from 2019 on Friday. Also, Jason Levine will be doing his top 10 games from 2019 on Friday. And then Monday's the Kickstarter. Are you ready? Yeah, I'm not quite, but we're a lot closer than we were, and I feel good. Like I said, one of the things I'm most thankful for is the guys in the studio, and just this has been such a fantastic year working with them. Like I said, we were very sad to see Sam go, but you know, when Sam moved, all the guys here went over and packed him up and helped him go, and we were sad to see him go. And he sent us a text, if I can share personally, he said leaving here was one of the hardest things he ever had to do. And we felt that too. But we move on. 2020, we can look back fondly at the past, but we move on in the future. And I'll tell you, I'm really excited about it. I'm excited about our conventions this year. I'm excited about our the videos and reviews and the new ideas we have. And if you have ideas and stuff, always tell us. I don't take all new ideas. In fact, I don't take a lot of them. But I'm always interested in learning more. So a Happy New Year to you all. Also, did I mention it's a new decade? It is! Ha! Don't let anyone tell you differently. They're wrong.